Welcome to our pod, and by that I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah,
I'm Laura.
and we are two best friends who do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time. Right now we are bum in the year of the Dresden,
The Year of the Dresden.
and we are discussing the themes and characters of Turncoat by Jim Butcher.
Turncoat. Hannah, did you ever get that explanation as to why events had to happen?
Yes.
You did? Oh, you never sent it to me.
I'm so sorry. I looked it up on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Wikipedia told me.
I'm not gonna. So, slight spoiler. We spoiled it in the last episode because we go in depth on these, but there's a major character death, and we
Yes.
could not figure out why this character died. And so I was actually talking about it with my coworker at the library, who is a big Dresden fan, and she said, "I think sometimes authors just get tired of characters, Laura, and they want to write them out." So I was like, you know what? I don't like that you're being so reasonable about this. I need an in-depth explanation.
Well, she went for like the meta author reason. According to Wikipedia, this person d died of blood loss from the wounds he sustained in fleeing from
Hmm.
the warden. So like he was like running away and he like sustained it during like the fighting and the battles. So like
Okay.
we kind of thought like, oh, there must have been more to it. Like, oh, he died and they killed him like as kind of a proxy. But it kind of seems like no, they all knew what happened. It's just like they don't talk about the Black Council still. And they're
Okay.
still kind of like they know that it was Peabody. They know why they did what they did, but like he ran away and he hid it because he knew that they were going to like he needed to buy time to figure out who the real culprit was. And then he accepted punishment because kind
He
of
had so much guilt.
yeah, he had so much guilt and he didn't think like anything was going to happen. He needed to protect Anastasia and
He
all
just
of
wanted
that.
to
So,
basically take the fall so that
yeah.
the blame would be lifted from her, that she wouldn't be
Yes, because like the
targeted.
true
He's like, I guess if
murderer,
I'm already dying from my wounds, I might as well take the blame, and then Dresden will redeem me in my death.
correct. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a whole thing. So that is what happened,
Still a
Laura.
little bit dumb,
Um,
but what do I know? Nothing.
amazing, amazing energy, Laura. Thank you so much for coming into this. But before we dive even deeper into the characters and themes of this book, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So I actually read a whole bunch of graphic novels. I read all of the volumes of Saga that are available. Saga
Nice.
by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples is the illustrator. This was a series that I was a little reluctant to get into
Yeah,
because I had
I'm
heard that there was
surprised.
ableist, there was some ableism that was kind of profuse throughout the series. There is some ableist language that is used, and also, some sexist language, some fatphobic language.
Hmm.
Also, you're handling a lot of really difficult themes in this series as well. It's a series that is about basically these star-crossed lovers who are in the midst of a intergalactic war. They are soldiers for opposite sides, and they end up developing a relationship and falling in love and conceiving a child. And so then their family has to basically travel across the galaxy
Hmm.
to avoid persecution from all the opposing sides of this war. And there's a lot of different things that they're encountering, and there's drugs, there's art, there's tons of sex. It's very, when we say graphic novel, this is what we mean, because there's lots of graphic depictions in this of violence as well as sex, and um, yeah, and lots of violence, lots of sex. So lots of those things. But I think it's also handling a lot of different and difficult themes in terms of like xenophobia, racism in
Hmm.
its own way, of the cost of war. And I think it also really nicely illustrates how families can be made and unmade. And I think some of my favorite parts of this series are just hearing the narration through the voice of Hazel, who is our I would consider the main character that we're following throughout this series, but a brilliantly illustrated series. I don't think it's a perfect series. I know a lot of people like absolutely love Saga and
Hmm.
everything. I go up and down with how I feel about each volume, and I think that it does have very poignant moments, but as a whole, I think that I'm like up and down with how I feel about it. There's moments where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And other times I'm like, that was really well done. And I wish we could have more of that. And really, like certain volumes hit me more than others. Towards the end of where I got to, because I think there's only 13 volumes out. I think that's all that I read through, or maybe it's only 12. Um, but I was really kind of enjoying some of the younger characters and their relationships that we're getting. So it's only through 12. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm really enjoying some of the younger characters that are in this series and their relationships and how they're developing. I think that those are very heartfelt and interesting, and it's unique to see people dealing with grief in difficult times and how that's depicted in this series. I think that the representation, as far as like seeing characters who are darker skinned in a space opera, that is important, and I like that. I also think that there needs to be some work done in terms of some of the language that is used. So,
That's
yeah,
fair.
it's a series that obviously, if I read all 12 volumes that are out, I have enjoyed it, but it is not without its flaws. And I do think that my feelings about it go up and down. So,
That's
yeah, it's
I own
enjoyable.
the first three. I have
Hmm.
read the first volume, so
Hmm.
that I think it's a very beautiful series. I always like I'm very stunned like I always like the artwork, but I think
Sure.
it's one that I always kind of forget to pick up. So
Sure.
I'm
It's one of those that I hate to say this, but it's one of those that I feel like may possibly be a little overhyped.
I think that that's a very fair assessment, and I'm glad to get your take on it because I know that you were very back and forth on it, and so I
I
do
was
like.
very hesitant to pick it up because I had heard that it was quite ableist
Hmm.
in terms of the language that is used. I don't know that it is as ableist as I feared it was going to be, but there is for sure ableist language
Okay.
used.
Yeah.
That I am not a fan of that
Yeah.
because I thought maybe it was something that just happened in like the first volume, but it does happen in later volumes. And
Mm-mm.
in later volumes, it is called out.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is something that the author is, taking a note and having the characters directly call it out, like, "Oh, I got the note, you guys. Sorry about that. Here's the characters actually pointing it out to show you that I've noted it." But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, I was hesitant to pick it up, but I think it's one of those that even if I'm like looking past that, I think it's one that maybe is just a little overhyped in my mind. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Yeah.
there are other graphic novel series that are out there and manga series as well that I think are doing or have been doing these things for a long, long time,
Right.
and they're excellently illustrated as well, and I think are maybe doing it a little better. Maybe not
Yeah.
necessarily in this type of genre where it's like a space opera, because I would call this space opera. It's a love story, it's got fantasy elements for sure, and it's in space, but it's not quite as science fiction as like a hard sci-fi. So I would
Yeah.
call it more space opera-y, kind of Star Wars-esque. But yeah, I think that maybe just the genre and the colors of it all kind of draw people in, and it is something different, but I think maybe it's a little overhyped in my mind. I think when I'm thinking of like excellent, like really well done characters and things like that, I'm gonna always fall back on like monstrous. Like that is
Well,
the
yeah,
elite.
that's
I
hard.
mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to compare, but it's one of those like if you look up lists online, even just Googling like comics that are like monstrous, they will recommend Saga. And I'm like, I don't know.
Very
I think
true.
Saga in my mind is a little overhyped, but it could be me. There's somebody listening to this right now that I'm sure is like a huge Saga fan and is like, you're wrong. But yeah, I think just for me, in my opinion, I go up and down with the volumes. I think that it does have some really poignant moments and some great lines, and I appreciate Hazel's narration. That I think was my favorite part throughout is just getting Hazel's narration, some of her thoughts about her own situation and her parents' love. And I thought that was the most poignant and unique part of the series is having that narration. So there was that. And then I watched some more Christopher Nolan. So
Oh, What movies?
So I watched Dunkirk. Have you watched Dunkirk yet?
I have not watched
Okay.
Dunkirk.
So I've officially surpassed all the Christopher Nolan movies that you have watched, I think. I
Yes,
think
you have.
I have now become the
You've
Christopher Nolan
become
expert.
the expert on the podcast when it had been me, and now,
Now
Lord,
it is
now
I.
do I not get to complain about Christopher Nolan if I haven't seen more movies than you? Is that what we've decided?
I mean, you can complain. You can complain about the ones you've seen, I think. I think that's well within your right to complain about the ones you've seen. I don't
Uh,
always know if it's fair to complain about movies that you haven't seen.
that's
Um,
fair.
but this one, I think, maybe is this is a World War II movie about the evacuation at Dunkirk. Uh, and it came out like 10 years ago ish. And, it's featuring all of our old faves that we like in all of our Christopher Nolan movies, but also Harry
Bong.
Styles, which
Oh, okay.
takes
I
me
thought
out of
you
it a
meant.
little bit every time Harry Styles comes on screen, where I'm like, Harry, why are you in this? This is weird. Harry Styles,
Laura,
go away.
you said all our old favorites, and I thought like things we like in Christopher Nolan movies, and I immediately went to music, and I was like, bong, like, and
Well,
you
we
meant
do like
actors and
Hans Zimmer.
actresses.
We do like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was thinking about Hans Zimmer because he is also the music behind Dune, if I'm remembering
Yes, yes,
right.
I believe you are
So
correct.
Hans Zimmer is in my dreams, always booming and boom. And I think possibly my love for a lot of these movies is just Hans Zimmer. I think I maybe just really like Hans Zimmer. But yeah, I Dunkirk is one that is shot in a different way because this is obviously a historical novel,
Hmm.
or not novel, a historical film, but
Film.
Christopher Nolan is not obviously getting into any kind of fantasy elements. He's just playing with the timeline of it. So we're depicting three different narratives. One that is like an aircraft, two fighters in planes that are going in the period of 1 hour. Then we're following in a different timeline a man and his son and a boy from their neighborhood that helps them that are going out on their small yacht to provide aid to Dunkirk in the time period of a day. And then we also follow people on the beaches of Dunkirk who like in the Battle of France, these soldiers have retreated there. We're following them in the period of a week. And they eventually all end up colliding at the end. These timelines all meet up. But it's a really interesting way to tell this because you're introduced just like briefly at the beginning with to these different timelines, and then you kind of stop being told which timeline you're in. So
Got
you're
it.
kind of trying to decide, like, okay, well, what timeline are we in now here? Because we're at this point now, we're with these characters. You have to keep track of the characters a little bit because some of them are in multiple timelines.
Mm.
But I think this is actually weirdly for a war movie, a fairly positive one as far as Christopher Nolan goes, because he does like to be a little depressing, but this one was oddly positive for a war movie and one where people are getting shot and there's a lot of death. Like it was oddly positive, and I did enjoy this one quite a bit. It was like I typically like stuff that's a little more trippy and stuff like that. This one definitely has the bombs. The score is heavily relied on in all of
Mm.
Christopher Nolan's films. Like he is like, can I get Hans Zimmer? No. Is Ludwig available? I'm getting Ludwig Göransson because I need someone who can provide me a score that I can glide through in my movie. But yeah, the score is heavily relied on. But I think this one, Hannah, honestly, I don't know if you like war movies. I think this might be one of the most palatable Christopher Nolan movies for you.
I do love a good Saving Private Ryan.
Yep, you'd probably be okay with this one
Okay. That's about as war
because
movie as I get. And I think
well,
because
and
like
I
yeah.
think along the same lines, there's not a ton of dialogue in this, honestly. It's
Okay.
very light on the dialogue. It's very much just kind of like showing the experiences of these men and how they're all trying to like find their own way to get out of the situation that they're in or to provide aid to the situation. So very low dialogue and very much relying on just the scores and following these people who are quickly moving through this situation and trying to evacuate. So but it is more positive than a lot of war
Yeah.
movies that I have seen. And I think you're left with a, a better feeling at the end of it than you are at many Christopher Nolan movies, where it's a little less open-ended than
Okay.
he likes to portray. So that one was one that I actually enjoyed that. And I think that one, of the ones that I have now seen, I think it may be the most palatable Christopher Nolan for you. And I was
Okay.
unsure if you liked war movies, but
Yeah, I don't get into the war films very often. I'm trying to
hmm
think of all the war movies. I don't watch a lot of movies, I've realized in my adulthood.
hmm
Unless they're like ones I've repeated from my childhood. I really go to my childhood oeuvre too much, but
Sure.
um Saving Private Ryan is the main one that I can think of like I have seen that war movie and that's
I actually like Saving
about
Private
it.
Ryan.
I also like that movie. I mean, that's the one I went to. Um is like Vin Diesel in that movie? Like someone wild is in that movie and you're just like, "Why are you here?" Yeah.
I think
But I
he
do like
is.
yeah, so I think that that's a good one. So I'm sure
hmm
Dunkirk is up there. I do think those are very specific movies. I also remember watching a large majority of Pearl Harbor and not caring for it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'm sure Dunkirk is a wonderful film. For people, I don't dislike Christopher Nolan films. I think Christopher Nolan himself is a bit much. So it's him personally, not his films.
So
So,
I know what he looks like now because I
oh, good.
did watch the special features on that movie and they interviewed him. And you know what? He actually said that he does not want people to picture him when they're thinking about his films. He wants it to be like isolated, that they're thinking about the themes in his films and thinking about his films. He doesn't want him self like getting immersed in there, that like people's vision of the movie is clouded because of their vision of him, which I think is fair, but at the same time leans into what you're saying, where it's like this is a privileged man who's basically using that as an out to be like, I'm not going to reveal any of my opinions on things so that
Yeah,
I
that
don't cloud people's
also I'm so
vision
sorry.
of my movies and I get more money so they go.
If you're gonna be like that, you also can't be like the most like specific art like auteur in the world who is like, do you want to know what a Christopher Nolan movie feels like? A Christopher Nolan movie. Like you have like very specific feelings in your movies where you're like, no, 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 each one of my movies is a unique experience. And it's like, but okay, yes, it is, but it's
They
also
they
not
are, but
because
at the same time, like a lot of these things permeate throughout. And like
correct.
big thing is timeline to him.
Yeah.
Like he loves to play with time and the perception of time.
Yes. And so like you're not going to always get you're not always going to get what you want Christopher Nolan,
hmm
except you
hmm
will because you're Christopher Nolan and people just
Sure.
apparently give you everything. So like yes and no, sir. So that's
hmm
usually yeah. But
And
I'm
also
sure
his wife
Dunkirk
works very closely with him on all of his films. I learned from the
behind
special features too.
every incredibly successful man is his wife who is helping
Yeah.
him all
Who
of
is
Wheel
actually
of Time and
very
Star
brilliant
Wars
and
and
doing a lot of
Christopher
the work.
Nolan. Like, yes.
So, yeah, but they met in college
Yeah,
apparently. And
I know. Yeah.
so she does a lot of the work on these films. I was surprised to Emma Thomas is her name. We
I
will
don't
credit her here.
I don't
Um,
know if I mentioned it, but because I recently told someone this, but like Patton Oswalt has a bit in one of his comedy things where he talks about how almost all of the famous movies, like the world famous movies that we all love, have female editors in them. And he's like, you
mhm.
have these male auteurs who just give these female editors slop and they're like, I will fix it.
Fix it. I thought you were going to say that he like pointed out that he has, well, he's now got two, but his first wife who passed away, Michelle McNamara,
Yeah.
she is was a brilliant journalist and investigator, really,
Yeah.
because she was integral to finding the Golden State Killer.
Correct.
So I
Correct.
thought you were going to mention something along those lines because, like, yeah, my wife helped find the Golden State Killer, and I was the voice of Remy in Ratatouille.
No, no, he like specifically goes into like Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
he's brought up like so many different films where he's like, all of your favorite films have like female editors. So just remember behind like all these male auteurs who are like special, have like all of this film
Mhm.
footage where a woman's like, don't worry, I've got this.
I hate to like. say something and then like tomorrow we'll find out bad news about him. But Patton Oswalt seems like a good egg as far as
Knowing what we know
knowing what
now,
we know now, knowing what we know now from
he's
that terrible Wish movie.
that I've never seen, but I do know that Lord
Don't
sings
watch
this
it.
part. Um, no, I do love he also like in the fan of like dead mom clubs, he has like a dead
Hmm.
mom joke about his daughter where he took her home, he like pulled her out of school for her first Mother's Day week because he's like, oh, like all the kids make
Yeah.
Mother's Day gifts and like it's this terrible time. So like he talked to like a child psychologist who was like, nope, get her out of there. And
Hmm.
he like took her home to Chicago where his mother or where his wife's family lived. And he's like, we spent this wonderful week celebrating like memories of Michelle with her family. And it was like this beautiful thing. And he's like, and we weren't talking about it. Like we're talking about death. And it was just this beautiful thing. And but like they live in the public eye, obviously. And he talks about how
Hmm.
like he went to fly home and this like woman with a very thick accent saw them and like in the airport. She was like, little girl, your mother, I'm so sorry. And he
Oh,
was like, and he's like, and now I just live in fear of these women popping up and being like, you're dead, mom. And I'm like,
oh,
oh, geez. So he seems like a very stand-up guy. And like
yeah.
he recently got flack for like I forget if it was like getting remarried really soon or like
He is
celebrating
remarried,
his dead
actually.
wife and his like new wife was like, well, I his wife didn't leave him, she died, of course we're going
Hmm.
to celebrate her memory. Like
I think
so
they had been friends for quite a long time. Him and his second wife. I don't think this was something I could be wrong, but if as far as I know, this seems like something where like they were friends for quite a while, and it wasn't
yeah,
something where it was like he met her 2 weeks after his wife
well,
died and they immediately eloped. Like,
also like I don't know, death the death of a spouse is very complicated and I don't
hmm.
know, they always say like it's hard look from the outside looking in and lots of people who are very
I
centered and very much in love can find love afterwards, so
I do think too, like it's very dependent on the person and how they feel comfortable moving forward, and you aren't able to judge that from the outside.
correct.
So it's hard to know.
Yep.
But back to Dunkirk, I thought this was a good one. um, I did like it. I think this is a huge step up from Following and Memento.
Hmm.
I thought it was quite a lot better.
I
Quite a
mean,
lot
that's
better.
he didn't he
Following
didn't
and
go.
Memento are like, and honestly, I don't even think that they are that bad. But in terms
No,
of like Christopher Nolan, they're bad, which
but
is
it
like
is,
saying a lot. But where it's like, yeah, Memento sucks if you're comparing it to his other films, and then it's like, Memento is actually fairly good.
it is funny though that the way you're talking about them is like this is the order in which he published them.
It's not
Like,
actually the
it's
order in which he
not.
published them because I'm pretty sure the Batman movies
Yes, correct.
came out in between there somewhere. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
And so did Inception. Inception came out before Dunkirk.
right.
So yeah, but in Dunkirk, I really liked the like yacht timeline, that day period. There were a couple actors that were like Barry Keoghan is one of them. I'm not a big fan of him in real life, but Barry
Yeah.
Keoghan, Mark Rylance, and then Tom Glenn Carney are and also Cillian Murphy.
Mm,
He's a
of course.
Christopher Nolan staple.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were all in the yacht and water timeline, and I really liked all of their acting and interactions. I thought that they were very well done, especially really liked Mark Rylance and some of his work in that film. But I think a lot of the actors did a really good job. Harry Styles, you took me out of it. You should have not been in this movie. Anytime you came on, I was just like, no, not you. But it was a good movie. I did like it, and I do think it was a huge step up compared to these other ones that I didn't think were as good. But yeah, and then I rewatched Inception. I
Mm.
still like it. I still like it. I really enjoy
News
that
news
film.
breaking. Inception, a good movie from what I've
Is
heard.
breaking news. Laura still likes Inception. She's
Inception
only
is
been
seen
thinking about it
as
for years.
Inception is seen as an amazing film. What? What?
It honestly shocks me though. I was talking about this with my husband because we watched it together, and I was So I was like all geeking out over it and everything because I hadn't seen it in years, honestly. I hadn't watched it in a while. And so I'm talking about like, oh man, like every time I watch this, it really sucks me in. I really like the cinematography of it. I think the acting's good. There's some funny quips every now and then. It's just a fun action movie to watch, and it's just trippy enough that it kind of keeps you talking. And I think that that's like important in an action movie, honestly, because this is at the end of the day, it's like a silly action movie, because you're delving into people's dreams and trying to implant ideas is the whole thing behind it. But I was talking with my husband, and I'm like, I'm really shocked that this one didn't get Leo his Oscar because I think
Oh.
that he did a really good job in Inception. I'm, I think he was really good in it. So apparently, we just needed to wait for him to be attacked by a bear.
Uh, I feel
The
like
Revenant was the one that got it for him. So
men have to be given like special Oscars that have to be like given up on a silver platter or like on a silver platter for like, here's your special art project film. This is the one that
mhm.
gives you your Oscar. Look, isn't it special? And that was Bear.
That was Be Attacked by a Better
Hmm.
movie. Yeah. And I liked The Revenant too, but I just think that Inception is
Well,
better.
but we have
But
to
I'm
push
not
women
on the
to get,
Oscar voting committee, so they didn't ask me.
well, and we have to push women to get their Oscars early because by the time that they turn
Yeah, if
45,
they're
they're
as old as
like,
Leo, they're not allowed to
yeah. Oh.
date young women like he is, and not allowed to work, really.
Yeah.
It's almost time for the nursing home for you. So,
Exactly.
yeah. But Inception, still like it. Still like having those different interpretations of what's actually happening at the end, a la The Prestige, a la Memento. So, yeah, he has a theme. He's got a thing. And then I also finished up my magic puzzle company puzzle that I've been working on. So that was one that I'd been working on. I looked it up because I took a picture when I started doing the puzzle, and it took me 3 weeks to finish it. Actually,
Oh,
it's a
wow.
1,000 piece puzzle, but I wasn't working on it like consistently
That's fair.
all the time. I There were several days that I would not work on it. But when I got closer to the end, I got like really into it and was staying up late to finish it. And these are neat puzzles. They have different shaped pieces that you don't always encounter, things that are sometimes shaped like mushrooms or they're shaped like a person with their arms held out or something like that. Or you have a big puzzle piece amidst all these little puzzle pieces, and then there's edges all over the place and in places you wouldn't expect. And then when you get done, there's little secret things that you get to work on and add to the puzzle. And then there's like kind of an I Spy thing that you can do. So it was a very fun experience. I haven't been this into a puzzle in a really long time, and I just thoroughly enjoyed this Mystic Maze puzzle from the Magic Puzzle Company. So highly recommend them if you're into puzzling.
That's so
And yeah,
exciting.
Hannah, what have you been reading, watching, and or enjoying?
Well, this week is going to be the week of highlighting Laura's faves. Because back to back, I read Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, which is a book that
It
Laura
is
is
wild.
loves. It's a
I think about it
wild,
all the time. It's
and
weird
on,
to say though that I love it because I remember when I first read it, I was like, I'm thinking this either is 0 or 5 stars. I can't decide.
but I feel like we have to say you love it because it has stuck with you for so
Oh
long.
yeah, I
Like
think about it
years
constantly.
later, you are like, no, this book is life-changing to me. Like it's just like an earth-shattering novel. Like it's broken your
I don't know
brain
if
in a
it's life
way.
changing, but I do think about it constantly. And I
Yeah,
can't say that about a lot of books.
and this book is very
Disturbing.
disturbing because every time you think you know what's about to happen in this book, it changes.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is the best
It's
way
flipped
to
on its head.
describe this. Because like it is a very like absurdist, like unsettling novel. Um,
Hmm.
so we've talked about it on the podcast before. Like if you have been listening
Hmm.
to us, we have talked about Earthlings before.
I constantly reference it.
But it does follow Natsuki, who we follow her as a child.
Hmm.
Huge content warnings here because there's a lot of like incest. There's a lot of just
Hmm.
so many different things,
Sexual
um,
violence and
sexual
assault.
violence. But you kind of find out that she's kind of has a romantic interest in her cousin at the beginning of the novel when she's a child. There's some stuff going on there that like
She
could
thinks from the
have.
beginning that she's different. She knows from the beginning that she's different from other people, and she has these ideas that she's not of this world and that she and her cousin are kind of destined to be together
Well, at the
and that
beginning, it's
they are not meant to be here.
her cousin who thinks he's an alien.
Hmm.
And she thinks that because he's an alien, they could be romantically involved, which could potentially happen in Cousins where it's like innocent, but then it becomes sexual because she starts being preyed on by a school teacher. And so she turns it sexual with her cousin. And then all of a sudden there's this, and small spoilers for Earthlings, because like this is just like the first portion of it. And then it switches. And like Laura had told me about this novel, but I hadn't fully like understood everything that happened because like again you don't
Hmm.
always understand a novel until you read it and she's not giving me a
Yep.
play by play like we do with you in the Dresden Files. And then
Hmm.
there's a switch and a flash forward and I was like, oh, this is a book that looks at like how trauma and like what it means to like address your trauma from your childhood. And then it kept
That's
going and I
what
was
I
like
thought too at first. And then all of a sudden it's like, but no,
and then I was
it's
like
actually aliens.
no it's not about that. The trauma's never dealt with.
No.
And then it's like, no, what if they went off into the mountains? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm okay. Yep, right. I'm here for it. And it's just kind of like this very specific book about people who have a lot of issues and have a lot of like trauma from their past that they bring with them into
Particularly their
adulthood.
childhood.
Yes. And then they meet and it's all like it's her and her cousin and then her husband who she meets through like various stages and like them trying to carve out a reality for themselves that works for them but also does not work for them.
Which the husband, it's a wild situation too.
And
Like,
like the belief in the factory and it's just like
yeah.
so it it's
Also,
just
the way that women are portrayed in this book in particular, this is a unique, and you know what? It's honestly something I picked up on in her other books too, where I'm like,
okay.
is this a weird cultural thing that I just don't understand? Like that she's trying to get across these themes. I'm unsure. It's hard to say.
Well, and like there's so many parts where this book is very surreal and very like funny and some of it's humor, but also like
I
you're
know.
horrified at every single moment. Where
I
like
know.
it's really
Like,
funny when like Natsuki like and again like everyone go read this book because if I give you like some spoiler where you're like Hannah spoiled the book, I did not, and I promise you I
there's no
didn't
way she could
because
spoil it.
there's nothing I could spoil. But like Natsuki at one point, her sister calls her and is like screaming at her for like telling everyone her secrets. And Natsuki's like, "What's going on?" And everyone's like, "You didn't know that your sister was like sleeping with a bunch of different people?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "What's happening?"
She's so in her own world that she
I
just
know. And so that, I mean, I enjoyed this book, but I think I mean, I think that this for me was like a 4.25 stars because I do think it's an
hmm.
excellent book, but like there
Hmm.
are moments where you're like, how is this, how, how
Can
is
you
this
see why when I
happening?
got to the end of it the first time I read it, I was like, I don't know if this is 0 or 5 stars.
Yes.
Or and it's one of those like like all the things you're talking about now, I'm like, I kind of want to reread it. This is just like it it's one of
Well,
those things where every now and then I'll think about it and be like, yeah, that was wild that that thing happened in that book.
I also know that like I've read other translations that are like very specific, like magical realism, like kind of like these other like I think of other books that have like a flavor of this type of absurdist like
Hmm.
retelling. Like I remember the book I read where the man like puts a woman, his wife becomes like he puts her into a terrarium and she like starts
Hmm.
like growing limb like trees and things inside her. And I'm like,
Well, even like Shark Heart kind of is
yeah,
surrealist, weird like that. But Shark Heart is a little bit too cutesy
yes. The
to fit in
terrarium
with
one
Earthlings.
was a little bit weird. There's also one that I remember where like a it's called oh gosh, I wish I could remember it. I'll have to look it up so we could put it in the show notes. So look in the show notes around the time we mentioned shark hearts. But there's like one where this man starts having an affair with his like brother's wife and she like starts wasting away because she won't eat meat and it's like this very weird like dark twisty turny discussion of like what it means to own women and stuff and like this book kind of reminded me of that of like these weird tellings and then like the guy who writes IQ 98 wherever like he writes really weird books like this where there's like weird stuff happening and yeah like I just there's so many different things that's not the name of the book.
Was it
Um,
Manhunt? Was that the book?
um, no, I remember the
Sorry,
cover. It
or
has like
Dreamcatcher or
no.
Underneath?
I'll have to look it up because I can't
Apparently, there are
remember.
too many books about women being put in terrariums.
Oh, the
No.
woman being put into a terrarium I have up on my shelves that I could just pull
Oh,
for you
okay.
for because like
I was just
it's a
trying to
translation.
cite it for
Um
the book that you're
yes.
thinking about for the
No,
notes
that one
here.
is the forest comes the forest brims over is the one
Okay,
where he puts his wife into a terrarium.
got it.
Um
Well, there's lots of other ones, listeners. If you just Google it, you'll find many others.
holy hell, what a dark world we live in. Why
Why
do men
is
be
this
put
a whole subsection of books?
That's so dark. People, stop putting your wives in terrariums.
That is
Um,
bad.
no, this one was like this. It was much more beautiful. Like the
Okay.
discussion was like a very pretty discussion, but also
Hmm.
wild when you're reading it. So it's much prettier than Earthlings, which was
Yeah, Earthlings
hella
is not
dark.
pretty.
Um,
It's very dark. Very
yes.
dark.
So
That's why whenever people are like, "Oh, like I want to read something dark," I'm like, "Do you?" Because what does
I
it
read
say about me
something
that I'm
dark
recommending
once.
this book?
Um, Laura's like handing it over and she's like, you can't. Oh, and then the other book where it's like this very weird, like visceral book is called The Vegetarian. And that one is also a
Okay.
wild time. And that's by Han Kang. It's a winner of a Nobel Prize, and it's
Okay.
very pretty but very wild. It's another translation. So I think sometimes like as Americans we're reading a book and we're like, what is this novel? And it's just like we're not wild enough.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so Earthlings is a wild time, but like I'm glad I read it. I know you've read other things by Murata, and
Hmm.
you're a huge fan. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm locked in.
yeah.
I
Um,
will consume anything that she
I
writes.
mean, if you guys want to read like a very wild book, like I could tell you everything that happens in this book, and you would be like, Hannah, that's so crazy. And then you would read it and you'd be like, you didn't even touch half of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's
so
so short too. It's only like
yes,
probably 250, if that, pages.
it's so fast. And
It's a skinny one.
I was like running errands for my family reunion when I was like listening to it. And I was just like, what's happening right now? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that what a great book.
it's a good book. And then I said it was a Laura favorite episode, guys, because the other book I read was Shadow of the Gods by John
Shadow of the
Gwynne.
Gods. Ah.
This book took me so long to read, unfortunately. It's very good. Like I want to give a shout out to Laura. This book is excellent. I do love the like Viking-esque world building. I really like the like discussion of gods and how the like you have
Hmm.
these people like born of like rat gods and like I like the like different view of humans and their different like uh, look at
It's a unique
humanity.
play on like the gods and demigods and powers that
Yeah.
you typically see in like a Greek mythology retelling, where we're getting a Norse mythology spin.
Yes. And like the thralls that are running around and
Hmm.
how they're
Hmm.
seen and like the acceptance of thralls versus like their pushing away from them in their society. I'm also here for Orca, who is like
Orca,
my child has been taken, so I will murder everyone on sight.
Orca,
Like what a
the most
fucking
powerful
queen.
woman ever.
Um, so
Freaking love Orca.
I will say I enjoyed it so much. I felt bad because like there were so many books I had to read in between this book, so I feel like I
Hmm.
lost some of the plots. Um, so I can't I feel like if I talked about what actually happened in this book, I would fail my accelerated readers quiz on this book. Have you ever thought about that where you're like, I don't actually remember what
Sure.
happened during this?
But
Um,
you would pass Earthlings.
but I would pass Earthlings. I would pass
See,
with
that's the sign of a
flying
great book that you could never forget.
I went past with flying colors. Shadow
Earthlings
of the
is
Dead Gods.
tattooed on my brain.
Huge plot that you would need to know. And Hannah's like, I don't remember that character. Because I remember Laura was like, I really liked this character. And I was like, I'm actively reading this book and I'm
Belvon.
not sure I know who we're talking about. But like I did very much enjoy Shadow of the Gods. I think I'm going to happily reread the audiobook before I read the next book.
Okay.
Which I think
The
I've
audiobook is
become
excellent too, because I did immersive reading where I was reading, holding the print copy and also listening at the same time.
oh, that's
And
nice.
yeah, it's a good way to do it. So,
Yeah, there's a couple books where I've kind of accepted that like they're harder for me to comprehend reading my first time. So I like to do like either so I've read the print and then I've done the audiobook the next time around,
mhm,
specifically um the Locked Tomb series. I read
sure.
them and I'm like, I don't really know what I was doing during these books, but I wasn't paying attention very well. And then I re-listened to them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love these books. And I think The Shadow of the Gods might be that book for me where I really enjoy what I'm reading, but I'm not
Hmm.
comprehending as well as I need to. But people should read these books because Laura loves them and they are very good. Like I think the
They're really good. The
character
second
work,
one is honestly phenomenal. The Hunger of the Gods is truly phenomenal.
and I think that's everyone's favorite cover too, is The Hunger of the
Mhm,
Gods. Like
mhm,
when people
mhm.
talk about them, they love that one the most. So,
They
um,
all have great covers, actually. I think the third book has the best cover, but maybe that's just me. But I think the second book is for sure my favorite of the series. Actually, my dad is currently reading The Shadow of the Gods. He
oh,
came over to
that's
my
fun.
house recently and he was like looking at all my books and he was like, "Is there a book here that you would recommend for me to read?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Yes, but would you actually do it?" Because I get a little excited sometimes when people are just like, "Give me a book recommendation without any kind of context." And so I said, "Would you actually read it?" And he was like, "Yep." And so I immediately pulled The Shadow of the Gods off the shelf and said, "Read this one because I want you to read the whole series." So he's reading it right
amazing.
now.
Oh,
And
good.
it was funny, like a couple days in to his reading experience with this book, he was like, "Wow, I didn't expect within like the first 10 pages, like there's people that are dead all over the place."
Oh
And I said,
yeah,
"I told you it was rough."
it is a rough book. There's a lot of death in this one. So
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
you'll have to keep us updated on your dad's thoughts.
Yeah, he's
Um,
liking it so far.
and then for watching again, that's Laura's faves continues because I watched the
Inception.
because I watched the last one laughing UK,
Yeah.
season one
Which
and two.
season one and two? Okay.
Yeah, so I watched them both back to back, and I enjoyed them immensely. It
Hmm.
was a really good time. Like it's just
Did you love Bob Mortimer's performance in season one?
Bob Mortimer was so funny. It's so funny because like Richard
With the
Iowati, like
carrot.
everyone thought Richard Iowati was just gonna take the cake, and Bob Mortimer just kind of like sneaks up there to the final round where
It's
they're
one of
both
those
going
things though
toe to
where
toe.
he's just like so charming. And
Yeah,
the times when Bob laughs, he makes himself laugh.
I
Because he
know.
finds himself so funny that it's like he's working up to a joke and he's like, "This is gonna be hilarious."
I
And then
know.
he
It's
laughs.
so funny. He just finds himself hilarious. And he lives such a life. Like Bob Mortimer, we all like he's so funny and he's such a funny man. Like
Hmm.
everyone loves him and everyone loves him. Like it's so hard to
Well, and I think there's
describe.
also like in the first series of Last One Laughing UK, you could definitely get a sense of the other comedians who were participating in the show very much had a deep respect for Bob and all
Yes.
found him very funny. And I think that it was for a lot of them an honor just to even like be cast on this show with him. And I
Hmm.
think when you got down to it, like the final two were Richard Ayoade and Bob, and Richard has
So sorry for like
stated like
spoiling the heck out of this, but like it's
no,
been
it's
on,
been
guys.
out for a year.
Like, yeah.
That series has been out for a year. But Richard just greatly admires Bob and has considered
Yes.
him one of his like comedic heroes for a long time, as had a lot of the other people in the series too. So I think it was almost inevitable that Bob would win.
Right. And then season two, like Bob gets himself out because like David Mitchell just like he uses like his own like self again. Like it's so funny. But season two is
I love
also
David Mitchell so much. There's so many people in the second series that are very competitive. It seemed like it was a much harder
yes.
series.
It does. Well, and they all seem to be very competitive in season two because they talk about it where they're like, we're
Hmm.
not sure what to do because everyone's doing so good. I
Yeah,
do think there were a couple times where we said like we didn't think they were being strict enough because there were a couple times I thought people
sure.
were smiling.
Well,
And I
and then
think
they
that,
cracked down hard at other times where it was like, okay,
yeah,
really? You're gonna get her for smirking at that time when you didn't get people earlier
I
for doing
know.
stuff?
And I do appreciate on British talk shows, they are very quick to be like, yeah, we make the rules, so we get to break the rules if we see fit. Like I do appreciate
Hmm.
that because I think there is an inherent thing in America where we try to be like, no, we treat people equally when like that's not always the case and that's
True.
just not
Yeah.
that's not how any of the world works. And I do think
Hmm.
like there's a very specific like Britishness to be like, no, that's not how that works. No one
Like
ever
we
gets
get it
treated the
that we're not being
same.
fair.
Correct. And they are way more interested in because like I do know that like the
Like
host
on
at some
Taskmaster,
point.
that happens all the time.
Correct. And like the host of Last One Laughing was like, yeah, I will change the rules if I see fit. Like that's just how it
Yeah.
is. I make
Like
the rules. Like,
Jimmy at one point like gets involved himself to try and
correct.
get people out because
Yes.
he's just and he targets people that he's like, they're doing too well. I'm going after
Yes.
this one.
And like
I'm
it,
like, well,
it did
that's
seem
not
unfair
fair.
to me on one of them. Like I did not think he should have been out. And I was like, okay,
Ramesh
but like, yes, I felt like it was awful. I thought that was awful. And
and
I was
Ramesh
really
should have won the whole thing.
I
Ugh.
know. And so like you're sitting there like frustrated because you're kind of rooting for him and then he's out and you're like, oh, that sucks. So but like they are very, very honest that sometimes like these games are not fair and they kind
Hmm.
of do that. Like, because I even think in the last round we called like the person who won, like my entire family, because I was watching with my family,
Yep.
said that we thought he smiled like 2 minutes before the end of the like, yep.
Yes. He
Yes.
smiled early on and no
So
one called him.
so we just think like there are some things of like eh,
I
you're
think
never
it was
gonna
one of
have
those
it.
things too where like I don't think they expected people to do that well. So they were kind of letting people get by
Yes,
for a while. And then at a certain point, when they were like, well, they're all doing really well and running out of time, now I guess we have to get strict. Then as a viewer, you're watching it, you're like, well, you didn't get that person out earlier when they smiled. So that's not
correct.
fair. And so that kind of
So I
sucks.
hope
But
maybe in future seasons they're a little bit harsher early on, just
I
to
think it
like,
just needs to be more consistent or
hmm
something. Like if
yeah,
they get down to that point and they have like all these people who are like not getting out, maybe they need to like say, okay, well, you're just trapped in here.
yeah.
You don't get to go home to your families.
Laura's like
You're
sudden death,
stuck.
guys. I'm so sorry.
Kidnapping
Um,
you.
but like, yeah. So I do think it'll be interesting. There is a Halloween special coming out this year, so maybe you and I
Hmm.
cover it for a TV Tuesday. Um,
I do
but
also just really enjoy David Mitchell and Bob, and I was very excited to see those two interacting on Last One Laughing because they are always on Would I Lie to You being absolutely
oh
ridiculous.
yes,
And Sam Campbell and David Mitchell are also a good pair on Would I
yes
Lie
they
to
are.
You. So
Well,
it
Sam
was fun to
Campbell
see
is
them
like my
interacting too.
husband's favorite human in the world. So,
Sam
like,
Campbell is,
yeah, Sam Campbell. So he was very excited to
yeah,
see him on Last One Laughing, and he has a really good affect. So I was, yeah, he's a very good
he
contestant.
did.
So
He was probably in my mind the most consistent on that
correct. He
show.
was so good at Last One Laughing.
Hmm.
And I think that it's his
Yep.
personality. Like he has a
I
very
think
good, like
he's one
he
of those
locks
like
in.
people don't know how to take him.
Yes,
Honestly, like he's just genuine. He's kind of like that Lucy Beaumont from Taskmaster as well.
hmm
That people just genuinely do not know how to take them, and
correct.
they say really weird things, and people are like, "Was that a joke or was that actually you being like that's you? You do that? Like what?"
The the AI comment was very funny with the famous interviewer where he's like, you shouldn't say that about yourself. Like it's so funny. Like it was just out
Like
of nowhere.
I think we're having a great time. I
Yeah.
think you're a great guy. Where
Yeah.
he's like these
So funny.
lifeless. How do you like dealing with these lifeless people or these lifeless things or whatever? He's like
Machines. Yeah.
machines. He's like, I think you're a great guy. And I'm like the
So funny.
best comeback ever.
So
Uh,
funny. Um, but yeah, and then I watched season one of Schmigadoon on Apple
no, I have not
TV.
watched that, so you almost hit all my favorites.
I do feel like if you watch Schmigadoon, you would be a fan, Laura,
Well, I
because
think that Titus Burgess is in it, so
he is on season two of
okay.
Schmigadoon, so he's not on season one.
So
So
a favorite of mine is in that show at some point.
yes, that's on season two. I watched the like I started season two, but then it was too late. I fell asleep.
Sure.
But this is an American musical comedy television series where two people, like a couple who are kind of having some couple problems, get stuck in a musical, and they have to figure out a way to get out. And they're told at the beginning that they need to find true love, and they obviously can't get out. So the implication is they haven't found true love. And the
Mm.
boyfriend is very much like, okay, let's go find true love with other people then. And she's like, why are you so fast to jump out of our relationship? And it like
Hmm.
adds to tension. Um, and there's a lot of like callbacks because it's Schmigadoon, which is a discussion of the musical Brigadoon, all that stuff. So
Yep.
there's a lot of like um, looking at different types of musicals of the like old era of Oklahoma and Sound of Music, with a lot of famous people like Keegan-Michael Key, Fred Armisen, Dove Cameron, Kristen Chenoweth, Alan Cumming in this. And I would say that
Hmm.
this is a good time. I recommend this, Laura, for you. It's like, I would say it's not like the greatest television show. I would not say it's like up there with like
Sure.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend of like musicality by any
Hmm.
means. Of like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend has some of the best songwriting of all time for like,
It's incredibly clever.
it's incredibly clever. So like when you know that Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is out there and you're watching this, you're not going to be like blown away. But the music is fun and it
Hmm.
is very easy to pass the time with watching this. And I think it's
Sure.
a good TV show. It's very easy to watch. It's very quick. It's only 6 episodes. So like I
Oh,
thought it was
okay.
a very good time. I would say season 2 deals with like an infertility storyline. So like
Hmm.
but that goes with the season 2 is known as Schmicago, so it goes into like the
Okay.
darker, like Sweeney Todd Chicago era of um tell like musical. So I'm interested to see how they play with that because season 2 they have to look for something
He
new.
had it coming.
Yes, very
He had
much.
it coming.
Um, it
He had
season
it coming.
2, episode 1 did have one of the funnier lines where they meet this new girl. They meet Dove Cameron's character in season 2, and she's like, "Anybody got a cigarette? I'll do anything for a cigarette." And she like comes in and she's asking for something in season 1. She has like long blonde curls, and she leaves, and Keegan-Michael Key's character is like, "Well, at least she's new." And Cecily Strong is like, "That that's Betsy from last show. All she did was change her hair. How do men run anything?"
True.
And she's like so frustrated. That was very funny. I liked it a lot. Um,
I will
but
say
yeah.
that there's a lot of truth to that. I cut my bangs recently in a different way, and apparently I'm unrecognizable to people. Literally, people that I've known for years have seen me and then been like,
Uh,
and what was the name that I'm putting this under? I'm like, OMG, you don't know who I am?
I,
Oh.
I, you and I have like such separate problems because as a woman who is like a 5'10" ginger, I am one of the most e easily recognized people alive, except I look exactly like one of my sisters. So she and I got confused for each other for our
Yeah, but
entire
you have
lives.
red hair though, and I don't
Yeah,
think you recognize how much red hair stands out. I
it
have
does.
like dark blonde slash light brown hair,
I
and I
know.
wear glasses, which
Yeah,
is
I get
a
it.
very common thing for white women.
I know. But like, yeah, my red hair just stands out. So people are like, that's Hannah.
Mhm.
Unless they think
And people are like, that's one of billions of white women who
you look
see
very
me.
much like
I'm like,
people thought my
that's a white
sister and
woman I've
I
seen somewhere.
were twins for years, and then I went curly, and all of a sudden all of our twin issues went away. Like overnight, everyone was like, well, I know which one that is. Her hair's big now. So
Don't you remember when we were in college and we showed a picture of you and your sister to my sister, and she was like, Hannah's a twin? It was like breaking her brain.
it was just like, yeah, she's a twin. People thought we were twins. There was like when I was in high school, I stayed at my sister's house at like the sorority you and I used to live in, and
Hmm.
I rang the doorbell, and one of the girls was like, "Why is she ringing the doorbell? She lives here.
Just come in.
Just come in. What's happening?" So, well, Laura, with that, should we schmig on with it and
Let's do
discuss the
it.
characters and themes of Dresden Files Turncoat?
Hmm. A lot of tragic situations happening here.
Should we say goodbye to Morgan first so we can move on?
Jim Butcher also wanted to be done with Morgan. He was like, you know what he needs? Of mortal wound.
But also, we have to have an entire book where we question, like, do we like Morgan? Do we hate Morgan? What are our feelings on Morgan?
No, we don't
Because
like Morgan.
but he seemed comes to a question because Harry's just gotta help him out, Laura.
I know I've joked previously, like, oh, Morgan's the true hero of the story. No, he's not. He's not the hero.
He's terrible. He's sitting there being kind of racist towards Molly the entire time, and he does one nice thing. One, and we're supposed to think he's
Sexist too.
terrible.
He's horribly sexist to her also.
He's awful. Like I get that like a lot of these books, that came out in 2011, all of 15 years ago,
Hmm.
did have characters like
This
this
was
where they're like
2009.
2009. Okay, so how many years ago was 2009? It's late. But like 17 years ago,
Mhm.
17 years ago, there were characters like this where they're like, yes, they're not perfect, but they do care, and we're going to show that they care because they don't sell out the young kid who didn't know any better and is trying her best. And it's like, that is honestly the bare minimum at this point because he is awful
Here's
and
the
he hasn't
thing,
done
though.
enough to make up for all the crap he's done before.
I think we have reached a point in our lives where we can say that you don't get an out for doing one good thing when you've done a bunch of other horrible things and hurt people by doing those things. Like,
Mhm.
I
Literally,
think it's fine to say that. He
literally,
doesn't get an out.
this book ends with Harry Dresden going, "Oh, you came to me because you knew what it was like, because I
Thinking
knew what it was
fondly.
like. I knew what it was like to be chased by wardens when I was innocent." And then he goes, "Well, he was the one who was chasing me. That's kind of the problem, isn't it?"
It blows my mind that this book ends with Harry thinking fondly of Morgan and like trying to almost like change the viewer's perception. Like this is the real turncoat where we're supposed
This
to
is
change our
Jim
opinion.
Butcher, the true turncoat all along.
I mean, honestly, where we're supposed to change our perception of this character that's been terrible for books and books and books. And because Harry's like, you know what? He actually did see the best in me. Like, no, he didn't. No, he's using you. He did not see the best in you. Uh,
Yeah, so Morgan, so
but it
sorry to
was
see you
weird to
go,
end with
bud.
him. It was weird to end with him dying in that way to protect
Well,
Anastasia.
it always
And
feels bad to have someone who was innocent from the beginning die for reasons. Like that's never going to feel good when you could have someone potentially like
here's the other thing, though. Do you think that the reason we had to have that add in is because Peabody was such a terrible villain that is like at the end of it, he doesn't even have any good lines. He's just like running around screaming, "The end is nigh! Ha 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 ha!" and maniacally laughing and running around the building like, "Ha! I'm over here!" and ha ha ha! And it's like he's such an easy call from. I called it so
well,
quickly
we
that he was
both
the villain,
immediately
and I'm
said he's so suspicious. Why is this suspicious man just
like
suspiciousing all over?
I
Like
kind of wondered if it was like we have to add Morgan in here because this needs a little more depth because this villain is just too villainy and it's way too easy.
yeah, because I mean, you could have just had Morgan leave and never come. Well, I guess you needed Morgan because you needed the unrest of the Merlins in the next book because Merlin
Hmm.
has to be weaker, and we had to get the new
Yeah.
guy on the council who's now going to be Black Council, and this is why we have the Gray
Here's the
Council, and
thing
then we're
though.
setting us
Wouldn't
up.
it have been interesting though if they were to have said that like, okay, so Morgan is mortally they thought Morgan was mortally wounded, but he escapes and like goes off into hiding. Instead of being killed, he goes off into hiding and is then like trying to redeem himself in the background, doing things to actually help the cause, like
Oh,
actually
like he
does
went
better
off and he
stuff.
started helping Harry's sister like do any good at all. Like that would be nice to like have him reform and like actually help the
Or he
people
could
who,
actually like start helping to fight against the Black Council, like looking
yeah.
into that. Like I just think that there were more opportunities for this. And this is how bad I hated this ending for this character, where I'm like, I think this character that I didn't really like too much and made a lot of
Yeah.
jokes about being awesome should have actually stayed around because there were many opportunities to take this in another direction and make it a little more
Correct.
fruitful for readers.
Yes, I do think that there were ways to continue with more. I will say I was shocked by his death. Like I did not see his
Hmm.
death coming. But it did feel a little bit anticlimactic to just kind of push him off the page and be
Yeah.
like, never mind, shoo, shoo, shoo. Because
Actually, I'm tired of him.
go catch a chicken. Like, you're just like rushing him off the page. Because, like, it would
He
have
gets
been
all the
more.
way to the end, and then Butcher's just like, nah, let's not.
I do think there is a little bit of like, I do think sometimes Butcher likes having Harry always be the sad sack at the end of the books. Like he likes him being
Yes, he
beleaguered. He
can't
likes him
ever
being
have a
sad.
relationship.
Correct. And so
All of the women in his life have to like be forced into relationships against their will or die.
how
Oh.
old is this man? Like I just need to know how old he is at this point. Because like what's happening? Like I'm just so curious.
What's going
But
on?
like,
What's happening?
what are we doing?
What are
What's
we doing?
going on here?
What's going on?
Took the L out of LGBT. But like I because
I'm
we have to
supposed to
keep
be attracted to that.
I think we are supposed to be attracted to Harry Dresden, but I do think we have to have Harry be sad at the end and have him be like, that is the resounding end to these novels. So if Morgan is learning and growing, is that sad? And the answer is no. So we had to have him die. And it's just like, well, it would have been more interesting to have it facilitate growth in Morgan versus he just had to go. Because that's what I wanted. I
It
wanted
makes me
him.
think though that like the only way Dresden is able to have any kind of like self-reflection is if the people around him have to tragically be removed from his life in these ways, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I just don't think that makes sense for characters where it's like he has in this book alone three people close to him who are removed from his life for various reasons, but all of them tragic. And this is now
I
like
don't
a
think Morgan
catalyst for him to be thinking of
I
things.
don't
I mean,
think Morgan counts as close to him.
but he played pretty much a influential role in
It
his
was an
life
influential role. That is true. Yeah,
for
that's true.
years, honestly.
Correct. Yeah. It's weird to have Morgan die. It's just weird. I don't agree with that choice.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
need to start writing some fan fiction where Morgan's still alive.
Please do,
Find me on AO3.
Laura, release the Morgan files. Please.
The Morgan Files is great, actually. Find me at the Morgan Files.
I'm begging you. But like,
It's
yeah,
a
I
Harry
do.
Dresden spin-off where we follow Morgan in an alternate
The
timeline where he's alive.
he's he's doing amazing. But like,
The thing
yeah,
is, I think that's a great idea.
I do actually think that that's a wonderful idea. He's helping
It
out
could be
Harry's
interesting.
sister. He's working on himself. He's becoming less of a
He's fighting the
bigot.
Black
Like,
Council. Like,
yeah, because
he's
I thought
staying away from Lucio.
it's just weird to kind of build up towards that of like when he's talking to Harry, he's pointing out all of these things that are terrible for Harry of like you're supposed to be teaching your student this, you're supposed to be doing this. And I thought at the end it was going to be like, look at all of the amazing things my student does. Shouldn't this open your worldview? And it sort of does because Morgan doesn't tell on Molly. That's good. But with the death of Morgan, all of that growth kind of hits a dead
It
end.
falls very flat because essentially
Yeah.
what happens is that we're taught that men need to die in honor of
They need to
fake
make
chivalry.
they
Fake
need to make
chivalry.
one step of growth and then they can die. Which I
Well,
have
it's
said so
the
many
thing is
times.
though, it seems like I don't know. I don't like the portrayal because we're supposed to feel attracted to that. No, we're supposed to like this because
That's supposed to be attracted to that.
we're supposed to be
Um,
attracted to it. We're supposed to like how this turnaround happens for Morgan because he's supposedly laying down his life to protect Lucio as if that's some sort of like big gift to a woman. And it's like, I don't think that this is actually a very good portrayal in my mind.
well, and
I don't
also
like
like
it
there was a
because
little bit of an implication of like he could have never lived with himself had he continued going on and kept the secret of what Molly had done. And I also think that that
Why
is
does he
like a
care?
lack of growth. Like that lacks growth because what you're saying is you're so rigid in your own beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that knowing that the council fails its students and not
Mm-hmm.
letting them grow themselves, like you have accepted that. You have done that, but you're saying, but I'm too old to grow myself. And I do think
I'm
that,
also confused though by all of it because like we even find out that Lucio has been under like someone else controlling her mind, and so that Molly was a little bit justified in doing this. And so there's no outs of any way, there's no gray areas for any of this. It's just immediately like Molly should have been put to death. What?
yeah,
Like we
I think
can't
it's
like look into
hard.
this more?
It's hard because like it's supposed to be, it should never like it's such a violation that it should never be done ever. And I do think that that's a good line in the sand to draw for the good guys because the reason it's so bad is we see Peabody do it and then we see the implication of like he took control over all of these people everywhere and it's so
Hmm.
awful. It's such a violation. Look at what it did to Lucio and how what ramifications it will have for her. Molly,
But in the context of like the way that Morgan is related to it, it doesn't make sense. Is
yeah,
You know what I
I
mean? Where it's
I
like I get what you're saying where like if you write it in the right way, that is a good point to like have it like that. But when you put like all these things together, it's just like okay, but you're kind of contradicting yourself a little bit here.
It's a hard needle to thread, and I'm not sure Dresden always or Dresden, we always do that. I'm not sure
He's the
Butcher
same
always
person.
I'm not sure Butcher always knows which side he falls on because like
He is
Molly,
also confused.
yeah. Because also like they often talk about it where they're like someone's in your head, Harry. But then like
It's Jim Butcher.
but then Molly is getting in people's heads, and it's just like it's supposed to be this line that you don't cross, but then people cross it a lot. So like it
Yeah.
is a weird rule that was written down, but everyone breaks. So it's confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. But I guess what I'm getting at is like from the terms of like Morgan, like he would be so racked with guilt that he couldn't keep the secret. He has to die. I'm like, really? Like, you care that much? And also,
He's
then,
just such a stand-up guy. He is the
well, and then the other
warden
thing
of
too, like
all
he's such a
wardens.
sexist throughout the book. And then we're supposed to be like, oh, but then he laid down his life for this woman. Like, no,
Yeah,
no.
I don't quite get it. It's interesting. It's difficult.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It feels like every time I think we're maybe taking a few steps forward in terms of like the
Well,
representation of women in this, where like we'll be like, oh yeah, we really like how Karen's developing, and then it's like, oh nope, she lost her pants. Don't care.
well, Karen literally doesn't matter in this book. She
No,
is
she's out of
so
it for most of
far
it.
off the page. It does not matter.
But Harry's single now,
But
so
well,
there's an
because
opportunity for her to make her way back.
oh gosh, well, and they kissed on this like randomly at the end. But like Molly is an
Hmm.
interesting character, though. I just don't always know if Butcher knows what to do with her because she is the character
Well,
who's
he knows what he wants to do with her. He's setting her up to be Harry's love interest. That is going to infuriate me because there's a power dynamic that is off, and she's
I
younger than him.
still have hope that that's not gonna happen. So I'm holding out hope.
I'm I'm already mad because I
I
know it's coming.
I have
Ugh.
hopes it will not happen. But like Molly's an interesting character because she does break rules a lot. Like
Hmm.
they tell her like,
She
"Hey, this is
wears
the
makeup. She has blue hair. She
no,
is a
that's not
rule breaker.
that is not the rule I'm talking about." They say like, "Hey, the
Combat
biggest
boots. She does the
this is the
things.
one rule you shouldn't be doing," and she keeps doing it. They
Here's
keep being
my thing
like,
though. It's interesting
"Stop
from the
getting it."
standpoint of like, if you have those types of powers and you think that you are able to control yourself and actually use them to help a cause, you would be tempted to do those things.
Yeah,
Like it makes sense that she's unable to stay away from that thing when it's something that she knows she can do effectively and feels that she actually has control over and that it
correct.
could be helpful to their cause.
I
So it does
wish
make sense that
sh
she's falling back on it.
I sh wish she had more of a power struggle and she was less of, oh no, I walked into a room and Mouse is sitting on me, shrug. Like, obviously, the story is told from Harry's like perspective.
Hmm.
We're following Harry.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to see Molly's internal struggles. it would be more interesting to have her and Harry have these discussions where he's not just like screaming at her like you're a child, Molly, you're so stupid. Like where she's just like
And she's like, "Are we back at the place where my dad was horribly maimed?"
God.
What? Oh.
Oh gosh, are you gonna kill me too, Dad? No, but like I wish we had some more like actual discussions with as she grows, she gets to be a more involved character. That's not just like,
Hmm.
I'm so smart, I get to go to the fights too now, Harry.
Or
Great
she's
for
like,
me.
"I've got a clever way to get some info.
I'm
Let
gonna
me take off my bra.
I'm gonna show him my nipples, my
It's pretty
secret
cold in
weapon.
that car." Ha ha ha.
You know, the car we made
Come
not
on.
work. Like it's just yeah, I
Pretty
that's
convenient that there's gum in this car, so I can make it a little chilly. Oh
That's
gosh.
the yeah, that's the part where I wish she got like more of an active role because she is
Well, I
active to
think
the
that
plot
this is a
now,
good
but
example of how when we over sexualize and kind of write characters in this way, that it's harder to take them seriously and
correct.
give them motivations that are taken seriously or make sense. Because a character like Molly, who does have interesting aspects to her background, is a lot harder to get behind when we have these absolutely ridiculous things that have been happening to her, and when we're constantly told that she's a child and that she's dumb and that she's just a hottie who
You
has
just
blue
don't
hair.
get it.
Like it's hard for us to like get behind her and be like, oh, well, yeah, we actually do think that she's effective and capable. Like,
Correct. So she's hard for me because I do think she would be one of the more interesting female characters to get involved with because she's someone who we've watched grow into her powers,
I
much
mean, there's
like
lots of books
Harry.
left. There's lots of books left. She could
I
become
did.
very interesting.
But technically, if we don't get more books soon, we only have 2 more summers left, Laura. What are we gonna do?
Can we get a hold of Jim Butcher? We need him to pump out some material.
But then he might be like, "Oh, I should come on and talk." We'd be like, "Oh
Mr.
no, you
Butcher,
don't
if
listen.
you're listening, please
Please
don't
don't."
listen. Hang up now. But
We
also,
do love your
can you
books. We
please
love your books,
write
but
some more books because we're running out of stuff to cover
and
and
people
we
love
need
listening
it.
to us. Thank you so much to the listener
We need more Dresden Files.
who corrected my discussion of Marconi being on the Unseelie court, which is not accurate.
Okay, what is it?
He joined the Unseelie Accords. The Unseelie
Accord.
court
Oh, I see what you
is what Mab is like part of. So they were like, it's kind of like the Treaty of Versailles versus France. Like I pretty much was like, he joined France instead of being like, he signed on to a treaty. Like, and I was like, oh, my bad. Thank you so much.
You know what? I will just say that that listener deserves a medal for being able to decipher all of these different facts. Oh my gosh. Kudos to you, listener, because that type of
Okay.
stuff just goes like right over my head.
And shout
I'm
out to
not
you.
paying that close of
I
attention to these
hope
details.
you don't mind me saying your name. It is You May Try. Thank you so much because not only did they tell me, hey, well, actually, like, actually to me, I said, I'm not quite sure what you said. And they came back solid with that France comparison. And I've never felt more relieved at someone being like, you did not understand what I just told you. Let me spell it out for you. And I was like, thank you so much. So.
Yeah, I think that that listener deserves a medal because there are so many like you even just saying like I think you said Mab and I was like which one Mab or Mad or what was it? There's so many things that and then it's unseelie accords versus unseelie courts like what?
I
It's
know.
so
And
many
I
of
said,
these things are confusing.
and I
Oh,
literally said, I will still probably say the wrong thing when we record because
yeah.
I will do it, but you know the difference. And you know
Yep.
what? DM me your address and I will send you some bookmarks. So, like,
You
um,
listener deserve a medal.
you do. Um, but yeah, Molly's so hard for me because she's such an interesting character, but like, so wild. I don't know what's happening with her father. We didn't get to hear if he's
We
doing
never did we
okay.
ever hear?
I
Is
don't
he
think
still
so.
is he still horribly maimed?
We got to hear that he had been horribly maimed, but not like how
But the
he's
way that
doing.
okay, I'm sorry. I don't like using the term cripple, but the way that Jim Butcher in this book says like he has Harry cut off Molly and is like, "Are we back at the place where?" And Dresden's like, "Your dad was horribly crippled." And I'm like, "What? Oh, come
God.
on. There had to be a better way to say this."
Also, I'm
Oh.
so sorry. When that was the ending of the last book, we should have a cut to like checking in on him. Why didn't we get a check in on Michael? That's wild to me.
I
That's
do
just
think we deserve to
irresponsible.
know what's going on with him.
Like,
Although
it's
I think maybe at the last episode I said I didn't care. Now I do a little bit. I've had a change of heart. I've had a lot of stuff happen to me recently,
Laura's
and I've had a change of heart. So I do actually want to know what happened to
Laura was
Michael.
like, here's the thing. I didn't care necessarily, but when you just didn't tell me what was going on, I cared now.
The
Like,
universe now has turned around on me and is like, you need to care. So I
well,
do.
we didn't care enough to like ask for him to be primary contact in a novel,
Hmm.
but he should be like, we should get a small 3 sentence update. That's what I want to
Sure.
know.
Like,
Like
you know how like when you read a middle grade novel and like at the beginning of every chapter they take
every single Jim
a
Butcher novel
paragraph.
does this, Laura.
Yeah, why
Like,
didn't he give an update?
yeah, he tells us everything. He gives us an update of what the beetle is. I call it the blue beetle,
That's
even though
true.
all
How
the
could we
doors are
ever
different
forget that?
colors.
I need to have more of the facts about like apparently the wars that we're dealing with.
Yeah, like what's going on? What are we do? What are we doing?
What's going
What's
on?
happening?
What's
Am I
happening?
supposed to be attracted to this? Um,
Am I
anyway,
supposed to be
so I think,
attracted to
well, Morgan was attracted to Molly, but we were not. So I'm bringing it back.
this?
What did
He
you
was also
think?
attracted to Lucio. So there was that.
I don't want to talk. I don't really want to
We
talk about
have to talk
Lucio.
about it
I know, but it bums me out so
because it's a
hard.
major thing that is awful. And then the way that it ends, where she is literally embarrassed to be by Harry, and he weirdly makes a joke about, like, I won't release the pictures. And she's like, pictures? What?
Well,
Like, how can I be your boss anymore? And that's just awful. And then he's like, it's fine. I won't make a big deal out of it. And she was like, well, at least I got to have sex again and I liked it. I'm like, no,
it's
what's happening?
deeply
Stop.
upsetting for both of them because the consent of it is so dark. Like it's just so
It's
dark.
awful. It's
Neither
awful.
neither one of them consented to this. Like
No.
it's it makes me feel icky because like there's a
So from
certain
a lesser standpoint, I'm sad for Harry because like he thought he was actually in a good relationship. And again, we have to have that pulled away from him. He can't be in a good relationship. He has to like at the end of every book think that he's going to be alone. And so that stinks. But on a worse level, we have Lucio, who was mind controlled into being in a relationship that she did not consent to.
she has been violated. And like
Yes,
I'm so sorry, like Henry, like who is the consummate, like I am chivalrous, I would never violate a woman. Like he has
did.
now violated a woman. Like that is a mind fuck for both of them on so many
Yep.
levels. It's just so violating. It's so gross. Like it just really
And I
frustrates
also
me.
just like kind of hate the way that it's explained, where it's like, well, because she's in this new body, the new body was more susceptible to mind control. So she
Well,
unfortunately had to be in this relationship.
and also
What?
just like the like Peabody couldn't get a ring on Harry because Harry doesn't come to Edinburgh enough. So they sent Lucio over to him to like
It's
get a
because he's
little
a
sexy time.
bad villain, is what it is. I like
It's so gross. It's so bad.
it's it's really just an unfortunate thing, honestly. Like we're disappointed with the way that Morgan ended, but this I honestly think could have just been pulled out of the
Yeah.
entire book. Like I would have pulled this right out of the book and no, we're not having the Lucio in a relationship with Harry against her will thing. Like that
Well,
we didn't even need this relationship then.
and I
Like
think like obviously there are books that would make this choice. I think what I'm worried about is this is not a book that really delves into like consent on this line of things and like delves into like the violation that could happen for both of these parties that would like deal with the ramifications of this long term. I think that this will be like something that they feel weird about, but is almost a blip on the radar. And so it feels
Well, I
ickier to
mean,
us.
here's the thing. It has happened to Harry where he has
Hmm.
been assaulted and then this is never mentioned and he
Correct.
is then just supposed to treat it like it was no big deal, NBD,
Correct.
and moves on to the next horrific thing. And he's also had his mind controlled, and things happen to him where he has not consented to them and is supposed to just act like NBD. And that is deeply uncomfortable. But it's weird that these types of themes keep reappearing in this same thread of people not consenting. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't
I
like that.
no, I agree. I think there is a weird
Like, there's got to be
non-consent.
other ways to handle villain situations.
There's got to. I don't know.
And the
Yeah.
other thing, too, like, okay, so even if you stuck with this, like, Lucio was spying on him, did they have to have a relationship? Could this have just been like a flirtationship type thing? You know what I mean? Because he does have those with other women in the series where there's always women kind of like interested in flirting with him and he's not sleeping with them. He could have had a flirtationship where he was getting close to a woman who was working with him, appearing at his place, but not in a relationship. I don't
Right.
know.
I don't understand.
It just feels ick.
That's a big old bummer.
Ebenezer McCoy is back. And we also have Ancient Mai and Joe, who has an unfortunate name.
I I don't quite understand how the senior council works.
Not very well. They don't keep track of anybody.
Not very well. Yeah, you're
They
right.
don't keep
Okay,
track
good.
of
You know
anybody. And
what?
then
Got my ass. You're right. Moving on.
then they don't like care at all about like I don't know their
Well, it's weird.
administrative
Like,
assistants and doing background checks or anything.
you know how
And
sometimes people are like, Trump is playing 3D chess, and it's like he's never played a game of chess in his life. Like,
are
sometimes
you
it feels like,
saying that the White Council is run by the Trump administration? They're that incompetent?
well, sometimes it feels like there's being like they're playing 3D chess, and then they explain to me what they're doing, and I'm like, no, it kind of seems like y'all are being a bunch of idiots. Like he goes and he talks to Joe, and he's like, it seems like Morgan might be innocent, and Joe's like, well, here's the thing.
No.
I want to take down Merlin, so no. And you're like, excuse you? Like, what? Then Harry's walking over to Ebenezer and he's like, you know how we think that there are evil forces here? And Ebenezer's like, oh, you know, now that you mention it, you're like, wait, what's happening? Am I having a stroke? Like, what are we doing, guys? And then like Martha's over just Martha-ing. Like, and then like all of the female like senior council members are
Hmm.
you could swap them, Swibby swap their names, and you would honestly not lose anything because they don't have
They don't
personalities
matter. They don't matter.
outside of anything. Like one of them knows Mouse because it's May, and like outside of that, that is the only way you know she is different than Martha. They
Yeah,
both
because
have
what did
M
we figure
names.
out that Mouse is? Ancient Maya said that
He's
Mouse
like,
is like
but like we knew that
a
when
special type of dog, basically.
correct.
Not like a hellhound, but something similar-ish.
Correct. So like it's like a very like ancient type of dog. But like
Hmm.
that's the only way we know May and Martha are different. Why are they all always M names? But
Hmm.
like no one and then the Guardian is someone who's
The
just like
Guardian's useless. Rashid.
Rashid is the strangest person I've ever met. They're like he's so mysterious and I'm like I actually think he's just you're right he's just useless like what is he good for I don't understand um yeah who knows I don't know um the gatekeeper sorry not the guardian
The gatekeeper. Yeah, the
the
Guardian
gatekeeper
is guard. in the other book that
Okay.
protects the little girl.
But he just kind of comes on and he's like, I think you might be evil, Harry. And Harry's like, I'm not part of the Dark Council. And he's like, oh, then I gotta go. Like,
The
what are you
Black
guys
Council.
doing? You guys are a mess. Get your
A foo
stuff
dog. I'm
together.
sorry, I just looked it up.
Okay, thank
A
you.
foo dog is what
Um,
mouse is.
so yeah, I don't understand any of the senior council. I don't understand their purpose in the plot other than making a mess everywhere they go. Like,
Yeah, I think we had to have the reveal that Joe is a Navajo shapeshifter also, that he's
yeah,
got that kind of power. Um, so I guess that was important context because now he's going to be also training Harry a little bit in some of this too, because he did a little bit, but
yeah,
that's going to be important. And now we also have Ebenezer who is going to help Harry make the Grey Council. And I'm just like, is he the best person to do this? I don't think so because he seems a little dumb. But
go back to your horse farm, Ebenezer.
I still think it would be very interesting if I know this isn't going to happen because Ebenezer is just an ultimate good guy, and he's got some kind of like weird connection to Harry that he's very interested in him. But he is. It would be interesting to me if this was somebody who's like, "Yeah, I'll help you make the Gray Council," and then he was actually on the Black Council. Wouldn't that be cool?
That
And
would be
then that would be
cool.
another ultimate betrayal of Harry. That
Yeah.
somebody that he considered a mentor and who was really close to him, pretended to be very interested in him, weirdly was like, "No, I'm a bad guy." It's not going to happen, but it would be cool. You know what? If I wrote the Dresden Files,
Remember,
check out the Morgan Files on
The
AO3.
Morgan Files is in the works, guys. It's in the works. Just be ready for it. Um,
What a niche thing to have this brand of Dresden Files fan fiction that delves into an alternate timeline of Morgan and Ebenezer McCoy, like two of the worst.
two of the worst. I'm sure people are roaring in the comments. How dare you talk about Ebenezer McCoy like that? He's
All
amazing.
of you McCoy heads,
He
meet me over
loves
at
horses.
AO3.
Uh, I uh, I'm so sorry. I'm on like Rashid fandom wiki page where it's like
Oh,
he
really?
could it's like it is strongly suggested that he has the ability to view future events in some manner.
Well, he
However,
says that he,
I
but it's
know,
just
like
like
he
not.
can literally reveal, but he can only reveal what he sees in the vaguest terms to prevent any possibility of a paradox or a violation of the sixth law of magic. And I'm like,
So
in this
it's like
book, he
I'm
literally
trying
says,
to.
like, Harry, it's not your time to stand up to the White Council. It's like, that's not vague.
It's like an
Like,
absolutely useless power, honestly, where it's like
yeah.
he can do something, but then it's not honestly set in stone that that thing's going to happen. And if he says anything,
I'm
it
so
could
sorry.
like ruin the timeline and they go to the darkest timeline. Like
I'm so sorry that your power is foreshadowing. Like, what a bummer of a power.
but you're bad
Like,
at it because you
yeah.
couldn't even tell that the guy running around your building screaming the end is nigh was the villain.
That
Like,
does feel like that's on Rashid there. That's his problem.
like I'm sorry, but that guy should have been a red flag. If you
He
noticed him
was a
doing
red
that,
flag. He was like forging their documents. Like he literally had black on his hands.
they're like at the water cooler in the break room, and they're like, "What's up, Peabody?" He's like, "The end is nigh," and weird catchphrase, but okay.
And
See
all
you
the
at
little
so and so's
first
birthday
years are like
tomorrow.
walking around like zombies and they're like, fun little party trick you got going on there. And he's like, "Ah,
Wow.
it's for the icebreaker later on in the council room." Um, yeah, I just I don't know. You know how you and I really love the Fae and that's about it. Like we did not have enough fairies in this. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it was slightly lighter on vampires than usual,
Yeah,
but
what did we think of the Thomas storyline? That
that
made me
that was something I
sad.
kind of touched on a little bit at the beginning where it was like, yeah, anytime Harry, we have to just like Harry can't have anyone close to him. And this is another example of that where we apparently can only see Harry in moments of growth when people who are close to him are taken away. And this seems to be the proof where even his brother is taken away. I do like that he kind of sets a boundary and is like, look, I'm here for you if you need to like lean on me or whatever. But if you're going to be taking a ton of time and going down a bad path, like I'm not going to wait around for you to have a
Yeah.
change of heart for all this time. So I do appreciate that like line in the sand, but at the same time, it does kind of annoy me that everybody has to be taken out of Harry's life in order for
Correct.
him to have any kind of growth. Like it is possible. Shocking. It is possible for people and characters in books to grow as people and have development in their lives and stories with other people surrounding them.
It's the old adage of like, I was talking about this with Ted Lasso, where I like never watched the final season. Now they have a newest season because I was like, I just get really sick of storylines where it's like a couple can't just stay together and have interesting storylines together. They have to break up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I do understand that like most television shows aren't for women in their mid 30s who like are like, can we watch like dynamic storytelling of couples? Like,
Sure.
um, and it's like, can we watch Harry Dresden have dynamic storytelling with relationships? Like,
Like, not even a brother he can't keep.
again,
Like, come on.
how old is Harry in this book? Like, I want him to give us an age. He was
Well,
25 when
the
these
other
books
reason we need
started.
to know is because it seems like there is an impending relationship with Molly, and we need to be sure that this is legal.
Oh
We
God.
are
I
in
think she's
Illinois.
18 now. She's 18 now, so it's all legal. It's just how bad is it, Laura?
Oh,
Um, so
he's gonna
yeah,
be a Leo DiCaprio.
ugh,
Gosh,
I keep getting older and they stay younger.
younger.
Um, But yeah, I feel like the Thomas relationship was the one, like the Thomas storyline was the one that hit the hardest out of everything. Because like again,
Thomas
like
has horrible things happen to him too.
correct. Like, and you feel bad because like we've seen Thomas and we've kind of like seen their relationship grow. Like it's so funny to have Harry be like, I just want a relationship with a woman. Who is the relationship we're bought into the most? The one with his brother. Like,
Yeah.
because it is the easiest one to buy into.
Well,
Um,
it also just stinks though from the standpoint of like we're told all this time like how awful the vampires are and how awful their lifestyles are, and to know that Thomas did work really hard to try and make a different type of lifestyle. And now, after the severe torture that he's undergone, he's ready to just give up on that completely because he doesn't understand why it's worth it, why all that struggle and everything is worth it when he can take an easy
Correct.
out. And even like the protecting and love he has for Justine, he's ready to kind of just throw out the window because it's like it's too hard. And I think that's very tragic.
Yeah, it is. It's a very tragic middle part of Thomas. And I do think that, again, 2009, Hannah Brain of Charmed. This was a very specific storyline that was also often being told in these like fantasy storylines because you often had the demon with a gold heart, like with a heart of gold, being like, I'm going to fight the evil spirits. Um, and specifically in Charmed, one of them was in love with a demon who became the source of all evil. This was a very tragic storyline where a lot of people wanted her to end up with him because it was like her main love interest, and they ended up not having her end up with him. Like he never came back. He was
Interesting.
an evil person. They got married. They were going to have a baby together, and she lost the baby, and like they did not
Oh,
end up together. Like it was very tragic.
yeah, that's
Um,
dark.
it was a very tragic storyline for an early 2000s television series.
Yeah.
But like there were a lot of storylines about like, oh, you're a demon fighting your harsher, darker, you know, l- areas. And I do think that we're seeing that with Thomas, and it's the like, what does this cost you? And it
Hmm.
cost him a lot in this, and he just had a harder time fighting that, and he couldn't fight it anymore. And I think that this is going to be interesting for future stories, and I think that this
Yeah.
is going to be very dynamic. But I do feel bad for Thomas, and I want him to be better. Like, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
It also sucks too, because like he's very much under the influence of Laura Wraith, his
Lara.
sister,
Yeah,
who like complicated feelings about her in this book because she does help Harry a lot, and they do have a truce of sorts during this period in time where they're working together against the
correct.
Black Council and Madeline Wraith, who got wrapped in with them. But at the end of the day, she ends up basically influencing Thomas to come on back over to the dark side. It's
Hmm.
cool over here. And yeah, I don't know. I feel complicated about that.
I feel very complicated about so much of this. So,
Well, then
yeah.
there's Billy and Georgia who have become Will
Will.
and Georgia. They have grown.
I don't know. I hated though, like I must be Will now. I cannot
I
be.
don't understand why he couldn't go by Billy.
I don't know because he's an adult and you can't be.
There are adults who go by Billy. I
I don't know.
I don't understand the constant nicknames upon nicknames for people. Like call him William. That is actually like when he gets older, do we have to call him William? I don't know.
Call him
Because Will
Billiam.
is in fact a nickname. But
Call him Billiam.
Billiam,
Billiam, what are
who
you gonna
knows?
do?
But yeah, and now we have so they lost someone very close to them, Kirby,
Hmm.
and then who was the other person in their ring that they're
Um,
honoring that person's death now,
oh gosh.
Kirby's death. It was Kirby's girlfriend.
Kirby
And
and then yeah, Kirby's girlfriend who
why did
was
I want to
in
say
intensive
Anastasia, but it's
care.
not right.
No, it's like Celia
Um,
or something. It's yeah.
but yeah, so they are now, um, I feel like they didn't have a ton of substantial time on the page
No,
that was like anything groundbreaking. They do have immense loss, and they're often supporting and fighting roles and things like that. And then we see them like intimately wrapped together naked as they're in between transformations and
right.
exhausted because they're like under the influence of vampire blood. But I don't think that they added a ton to
No.
everything.
Yeah, it's hard because like I feel like the werewolves are always like in my mind I don't know if this is true because I have not researched it, but it makes me feel they've always been ones where I'm like I feel like they're probably in the short stories more often, like because I
Mm,
know their
okay,
wedding was in a short story. And so to me it feels like we've probably not seen them as much as we should be.
sure.
And like Harry kind of tells us more about them than we actually find out. And I wonder if we're setting them up for future books to be more motivating for Harry of like, Will's an adult now. He has to know more about the magical world. And I still find it patently absurd that the shape-shifting werewolf doesn't understand that there is a giant magical world out there. Like, what do you mean? Oh, okay. Yeah, I get like that works once and it works with Karen being like, "You're a wizard, Harry." Oh, you mean that you meant magical wizard? Didn't know that. Like that one made sense. But with the werewolf, I find that a little silly, especially when the werewolf has helped fight other werewolves and other magical beings.
Hmm.
Uh, You can't do
Why
that
are you shocked
again.
at all? You're a werewolf. You're a werewolf. Why are you shocked?
You shouldn't be.
I do
Billy, I
wonder,
think
do
we
you
should
think the
still
next
call
book
you
is
a
a werewolf
child.
book?
No.
It's probably vampires again, isn't it?
I know what the next book is about. I unfortunately,
Vampires. Oh gosh, more vampires.
so sorry,
Every time
Laura.
every time I say like, do you think it's about this? It's vampires. It's more vampires.
I'm
We can never
sorry.
escape them. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. More vampires. It's happening.
Yeah.
Did you
Buckle
already read the
up.
next book? Is
No,
that
not
what you?
yet. No, no,
Oh,
no, no. I just know what it's
okay.
about.
Gotcha.
But any closing thoughts on this book?
It was a weird one, but it was highly enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
Like I was locked in the
I was
entire
locked
time.
in. It's a
I
great book.
like when we're talking about it for an hour and getting into it, breaking it down, it seems quite depressing and it seems like I didn't like it. I actually quite enjoyed this book.
Yeah. I agree with being locked in. This was a great book. It was a romp. Like I do think
Hmm.
like it is better than the vampire books. This was better than
Yep.
the vampire books because it was silly.
Very engaging.
The senior council was stupid, but like
Yep.
it was fun reading about their stupidity. It was fun
Yeah.
just going on little
And there's
romps.
plenty of action. Like there's
Yes.
this book had lots of action. I don't know. I thought it was very enjoyable.
Agreed. All right. Well, buckle up, everyone, because next book ends our
Diaper up.
Dresden summer. We are headed in to September. Well, we're heading into August and September. We
Hmm.
are closing out the summer with changes, because that's the next one. So please read
Turn and make
changes. So please, next week
He
is
does have
actually
banger
our
titles, though, I will say.
he does. But next week is actually a bonus episode, and it's a very important bonus episode because it
Hmm.
is our indie mission knockout round. Um,
Yay.
for those of us who join around the Dresden, in between each of our series, Laura and I host an indie mission where we cover an indie author's book usually, but this round is actually a very special indie mission because it's
Hmm.
indie mission 10. So
Number
we
10.
have covered 10 or will have covered 10 indie author books. And because it is indie mission 10, we are doing something extra special.
Mhm.
We have decided to highlight a completed series. So
Yes.
we reached out on Blue Sky and Instagram and asked people to highlight people who had completed series for us.
Yep.
And we got enough to do some knockout rounds for that.
Hmm.
I will have posted over on the blog by the time this episode comes out, the lineup because I want to be posting different authors and their works so that you can
Sure.
see them in time for the episode. But we will have it up there. I don't have it done yet because we recorded this early.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
please head over to ourpod.com to see the lineup. Based on what we've gotten from a bunch of authors who have been like so great in highlighting their friends or just people who are fans, we have some great contenders out there. So make sure you're checking out their works. And if you're interested, even if we don't cover these books, go read the works because these are series that are all done, and we
Yep.
will be completing a person's entire series, much like doing a deep dive into the Dresden verse or all of the other series we have covered. We will be
Yep.
doing a mission.
So lock in because we're covering an indie series.
Whoop, whoop. Doing a deep dive into a single book or into a series one book at a time. We will
Hmm.
continue to be doing that. It won't just be like a one-off.
I
So
think
if
that'd be fun.
yeah, we're looking forward to it. This is something Laura pitched, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So
Yeah, I figured for the 10th uh, indie mission, let's go big with it and let's cover a series. So,
huge news. Or um, yeah, so excited to have that out. And yeah, if you want to follow along over at ourpod.com, like I said, or you can follow us
hmm.
at OWWR Pod on Blue Sky or Instagram. Those should be the
Hmm.
places you're following. Less active on TikTok right now. And we will be highlighting a bunch of these authors' works over there. So if you want to show them some love, please
Yep.
go follow us on there and repost the Blue Sky stuff as it comes through. If you see something you like, that would be great. Or if you want to give us some love, please rate, review, and subscribe. Rating, reviewing, and subscribing is still a great way to get people to the podcast, and it
Yeah,
does
get them
help
in the
out a
mix.
lot.
Yeah, and
And
sharing, telling a friend, those things actually do help.
something I don't always talk about, but you can donate money to us in our show notes via Buzzsprout. And if you
That would
ever
be
want to do
so
that,
appreciated.
that would be help. It would help Bren keep the lights on. We do spend money to host
Hmm.
the podcast on Buzzsprout. So if you ever want to donate, we won't say no.
Yeah, we'd really
But
appreciate it.
we just would love the rating, reviewing, and subscribing. That
Yeah.
alone would be mean the world to us. So
And
please do
thanks for
that.
listening today. That is always just a pleasure to
Of
be in your earballs. And
As I love saying,
I
thank you
can't
so
even
much.
say it without laughing. We love being in your earballs.
What a
We
gift for Laura to say
thank you.
earballs, because I know how much she hates that phrase. Thank you.
Thanks for letting us be in your earballs, listeners.
and and join us next week for Indie Mission 10 knockout round.
Bye.
Bye.